Okay, I think I got it. I don't know what the heck that was about.
Just having one random SU.
Let's get started.
Sure.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Mitchell. I am a realtor here in South Florida. I have been a realtor for quite some time. I started in Maryland as a real estate agent there. And then I moved here in 2014 and got my license towards the end of September of 2017 and started doing real estate here as well. When I was in Maryland, I started to do first-time home buyer seminars because I wanted, for consumers to learn about the process of buying a home. I had a really bad experience when I was buying because I was buying new construction. I didn't have a realtor. And even if you're buying new construction, people, you do need a real estate agent for someone to look out for your needs and explain things to you because, a lot of times the people that are in the builder's office, they're really just there to help you pick out things here and there. They don't really, help you make sure you understand what it is that you're doing. So that was the reason why I got my license. And then I started the first time home buyers class. When I moved here, I did the same thing. I did first time home buyer seminars. Of course, they were in person. Adrian is one of my business partners providing homeowners insurance policy to homeowners. He became one of my presenters at the seminars. Of course, with the pandemic, we're not able to do that. We're not able to do them in person. So now we do the webinars. And instead of having all of the business partners at the same time on the webinar at the same day, I started to just break them up. So we have the mortgage person on one day, Adrian for insurance another day. We have the title company another day, and we have the home inspector some other time. And we also have a financial advisor that comes on and talk to our attendees about saving and life insurance policies and stuff like that. For the discussions for the homeowners insurance, I started a series called Ask the Experts. I noticed that there are a lot of people out there on Facebook in a group that I'm a part of, asking a lot of questions about homeowners insurance and inspection and things like that goes into buying a home. And so I started the series Ask the Experts, a real estate talk series. And so we do these once or twice a month with Adrian and the other business partners to talk about the different things that are going on. We met last month, I believe, or the month before, and we had a discussion about hurricane, getting prepared for hurricane season, making sure that you had enough coverage, making sure that you go around your home and check your windows and your doors and your roof and things like that, and then talk with your insurance agent to make sure that what you had was enough if a hurricane came through and damaged your home. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about their insurance policies increasing. I've seen a lot of people looking for insurance agents. I don't know how many times I've seen this, and I've referred Adrian. People are saying their insurance policies are going up. What is going on? There's something going on. So I would call Adrian, what is going on? What's happened with the insurance industry? Why are people looking for insurance agents? What's going on with people's insurance policy? There is a change that's happening. And so that's what this discussion is today. So I'm hoping that if you're watching here today and if you're watching on Facebook, and this is not just for homeowners currently, this is for anyone that is possibly thinking of buying a home in the future. You need to understand what homeowner insurance is, one, why you need it, and how much you need, and what to look for when agents and brokers are offering you homeowners insurance. You need to be able to understand what's listed on that paper. And you need someone who is educated, who has been in the industry for a long time, who is knowledgeable, who can explain what it is that you're getting thoroughly and someone who's going to be there for you when Hurricane Karen comes through, right, and blow off your roof.
You never
um,
know.
so that's what this discussion is here to is going to be about today. We're about 15 minutes late. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Adrian Neal with Credential Insurance. He's a local agent here in Broward County. He's right here in Tamarack, Florida. I'm also in Tamarack. So Adrian, please take it over. Please tell people what's going on with their insurance policies right now.
Thank you so much, Karen. Let me start by saying my name is Adrian Neal. Thank you for that introduction, Karen. I'm the president for Credential Insurance. I've been doing insurance since 2005. So it's been a while since I've been doing insurance. So I started during that period when there was Hurricane Wilma. It wasn't, when I first started, it wasn't that easy. And this is just a little background of how I became and how I started in the process. In the beginning, when I first started, it was a little bit tough because during that same period, you had Hurricane Wilma that came by. And it was a devastated storm. It actually made a wreck of everything. I used to live down in Pembroke Pines, and the whole community, the trees, everywhere was just damaged. And I had firsthand knowledge of, I actually saw everything like on the insurance point of view, where I was like, wow, this is overwhelming. All these calls coming in, people complaining, what happened to their policy, all these damages, you know, that was there. So I have an idea. When I first got in, I was like, wow, this is a lot. But once I got over that period, and there seems to be a couple changes within the industry, things kind of got easier. The lesser the storms, the better, and the industry keeps on changing. Back then, when we used to write policies, I remember it used to be just by fax. So everything was like by fax. You need a code to be done. We have a rate sheet. We look at our rate sheet. So we didn't have the technology that we have now, where everything is like super quick. We could do a code just like that, or we could bind a policy just like that. In the past, we used to have to fax that document over in order to get a code, and we have to wait a couple days in order for us to get a code. So there's a lot of changes within the industry from that period there. From 2005, when I first started working, it's gradually changing. Now, there was not too much storms after that period, 2005. Then the industry started to implement wind mitigation reports. It started to implement certain things to make sure that the Florida residents, they could get their savings, because at that period as well, insurance was pretty high. It was like a typical policy premium was for like $5,000. And so when they brought the wind mitigation in, it actually cut the premium down in half. So you're looking at premiums now end up being in the 2,000 range, $1,000 range, even 3,000, and that seems pretty high back then. So they started to implement a lot of changes. Before, we didn't have all these changes. They started to bring in certain policies, like there is a HO3 policy, there's HO8 policy. And that's for primary property, like if it's your primary residence. So they started to bring more HO3 policies in line, because at that period, it was a lot of HO8 that was right in, because if it's an older property, usually if it's over 30 years old, most carriers, they don't want to write it as a HO3. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to give you the baseline of how everything started changing when I was in the industry, how it started changing differently each period. Now, back to your question now, Karen, why is all these changes? Because I've seen it in the past. Now I'm seeing all these changes now taking place. It might not be for the best. It could be for the worst. It could be that everyone now, the insurance company, the homeowners, everything is now like amped up, because obviously there's a lot more hurricanes coming recently. You have a lot of public adjusters out there that, they're still making all these water damage claims. You're still claiming for Hurricane Irma, which happened 3 years ago. So you're getting a lot of the companies. I'm looking at, because I'm hearing from both sides. I'm hearing from the consumer, and I'm also hearing it from the insurance industry. They are feeling the pinch because of all of these claims, even though we're not seeing too much hurricane, but there's a lot of water damage claims. There's a lot of Irma claims that happened 3 years ago. So with that being said, the insurance company now are starting to get very, very strict. Another thing that, what I notice in the industry now is that there's something called reinsurance. Not too much people, they know about these kind of things, but the reinsurance is basically the insurance company for the insurance company themselves. So I don't know if you noticed, Karen, but do you know that insurance companies actually have their insurance companies? Well, it's something for you to know about and for the
No,
audience as
I
well.
didn't.
Yes.
Are they the ones that go out and do the inspection after
No.
they bind? Okay.
No, basically they're called reinsurance. And what happened is, say if there's a total disaster and the insurance company, what they will do is they will file their claim with their reinsurance company. Say if there's a big storm that all these, because obviously the insurance company is collecting money just in case there's a hurricane or something disastrous happen. But if they're collecting all this money and there's a big disaster and they don't have enough money to pay out, or they have too much clients and there's a big disaster, how are they going to pay their claim? So they have something called reinsurance, which is going to supplement the insurance company, which will come in and basically, and they mostly come in for natural disasters. They mostly come in if there's like an hurricane.
Right. Oh, wow.
So they're not really going to come in for like water damage.
Okay.
So
just the big stuff. Okay.
Right. So my understanding is the reinsurance this year has spiked. I heard from different marketing representative that it went up. I believe they're saying by 300%, or they say that it went up very high. So if the reinsurance is high now, which it is very high for all these insurance carriers, then they can't afford it. So what most of these insurance carriers do, they now close down in the problem area, which is the Tri-County. We have Broward, Miami, and Palm Beach. They're now rejecting this area, and they're now trying to put their business mostly up north or in the middle of Florida, where there's less claims, less activities. So I'm sorry? Okay, yes. So it is a lot of activities going on, and plus there's a lot of claims with public adjusters. So it is causing the industry to change again. And we have to now, be, ready for the change. It's very difficult for me as an agent. This is the worst I've seen it. And I've been doing this for almost 16 years. It is very difficult now. No one wants to write. The companies used to be happy for the business. Now, if they're getting the business, they're scrutinizing the business. They're making sure that the property is in good condition. They're doing their inspections. They're now, and if they're finding something that's a problem, is either you're going to fix it or they're going to cancel. They don't really care if they get the business or not, because they know that there's no companies out there in the Tri-County. They know that there's not much competition. You can't go nowhere other than maybe Citizens. So whoever's writing down here, they make it very difficult. So unfortunately, the consumer is going to suffer.
So far, does anyone have any questions based on what Adrian just covered, just with the changes so far that's happening and the reasons for them? Okay.
Right.
All right, go ahead, Adrian.
Yes. So we now as agents, we're stuck in the middle, because now we're listening to the consumers and we're listening to all the complaints, and we're trying our best. we're trying our best to trying to help the client, trying to find ways for the client to get savings. Like we would recommend to the client, hey, if I don't see that you have hurricane impact windows or shutters, install that. That will give you a very big credit
Right.
make some changes that will better your premium. Like for example, alarms, you could do alarm, get burglar and fire alarm. It's protecting your property, but also you will save on your homeowner's insurance. It's a decent savings. So we try to educate the client and say, look, we understand, but we're open and we're praying that there's no hurricane. If my feeling is if this period pass and there's no major storm, I think things are gonna go back slightly back to normal, but with a little change. They will be
Mhm.
changing something that's coming soon. I don't know exactly, and it could be water damage limitation. That could be the norm, where because of all the water damage claims in South Florida, they might end up they might just say $10,000 is the maximum that they will pay out. So the companies, I'm thinking they're observing, they're watching, and they're gonna come back in, but they're gonna come back in with a difference. And
Okay.
fortunately, again, the consumer will be suffering, unfortunately, until things change a little bit.
So I noticed, the shopping around, does shopping around help? Is it beneficial to
Yes,
do that? Because aren't all of them doing the same thing?
yes, I would say still the client still should shop.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer of we don't want to think that this is the only company that there's out there. There's more companies out there. So if the client, I personally would advise the client to shop. And if I have a client on my books, sometimes what I would do if I see there's a very big rate increase,
Hmm.
I would oftentimes shop it before the renewal comes up. And I will say, hey, do you want to renew or we could go with this carrier? Now I'll give them the option that the newer carriers, they are now asking for inspections. They're going out there and doing their own inspections. And when they were with the old company, they don't have to, when if they do renew, they don't have to do all those inspections again. And they probably didn't do an inspection if in the past. They probably just got a policy if it was like 2 or 3 years ago. But now these companies are changing they're getting more strict because they kind of see that there's a lot of activity when it comes to water damage claims. People would purchase a property and then the following week there is a water damage claim during that period. So they're starting to now saying, okay, then we have to do our inspections, we have to see the property, we have to see if the risk is worth taking, because they're losing money that way.
Now,
um,
this is separate from the home inspection that you
yes,
get when you're under contract.
that's
So
correct.
they're getting that inspection and
Yes,
they're reviewing that when you select them as an as an insurance company to insure the property. They're coming out after that, is what you're saying,
yes.
to
They're,
do their own inspection.
That's correct.
Okay.
They're still asking for the 4 point. Most companies do, not all of them, but they're asking for the 4 point and wind mitigation, and they're still going to come out there and do their own inspection.
Okay.
Not every company, luckily, we have companies that don't require 4 points, but it's best for us agents to have the 4 point to look at to see, what is there on the property to see if we can place that risk. Because if we cannot place that risk, unfortunately, we will have to decline it, or tell the client, like, hey, look, the citizens might be an option, if certain things were fixed, and if the client could fix it before binding, then that would be good if the client could get that done. But with your question, yes, we actually have to review those inspections that you send to us. We want to see them, but most companies ask for them, but not all ask for them.
Now, what's the time period after, say, you've closed on a home? and moved in, that the insurance companies that are choosing to go back and do an inspection, what's the time period is this taking place that you're
Usually
seeing?
it's within 30 days, and sometimes I would say the maximum will be 45 days from
Mhm.
the binding date. So if we bound it, say today, I believe no later than 45 days from now. I wish they would go out there and do it quicker, because
Mhm.
when they happen to do it like a month out or 2 months out or something, the client actually thinking that everything's okay, and it's like, oh, we have our policy. Now, if there's an issue now, the client will say, the client is already settled in. The homeowners is settled in. They don't want to see now an issue with insurance. They want it to get rectified, within a week or two of moving it. I mean, am I not correct?
No, no, that's
Makes it
fine. You
easy.
don't want to have to deal with that once you moved
Yeah.
in. That's it.
So unfortunately, we just have to just leave the insurance. We just have to say, you know what, the ball is in the insurance company's court. They have to now do their own inspection, and we just hoping and praying that nothing really pops up. If something do pop up, then unfortunately it has to be addressed one way or
Right.
another. Yes,
Okay.
but usually it's 4 to 5 days.
Now, who are the like the larger or say the older companies that have been providing insurance in this area
In
for
this year,
like?
all right. So right now, the main carrier right now is Citizens Property. They're
Mhm.
the company right now that pretty much everyone is going to, and they're basically the state company. That's what a lot of people call them.
Mhm.
They're pretty much run by the state. So they cannot, they can reject you, but if the property pass their requirements, you will be able to get a policy with them.
Okay.
So Citizens is the main one. Now, luckily, we have carriers like Tip Tap, Florida Peninsula, Edison, that is still writing. I was just using People's Trust, and all of a sudden, People's Trust is now they're not writing anymore in the Tri-County. So what we do find is a lot of carriers, they will be writing and everything will be looking good, and then a couple weeks after, and then a month after, they're just out. They just say, no, we don't want any more business. That's it. We're closing down shop.
So, so I have a house.
Yes.
I'm using the company you just said.
Yes.
A year into using them, it's
Yes.
not time to renew, or I've already renewed, and they just decide they don't want to. Is that now the reason why a lot of people are looking for insurance, because those companies have decided they're not writing in South Florida anymore?
Well, yes, that's one of
Okay.
the main reasons, because it's not only that those carriers are non-renewing. Most of those businesses, which what I'm seeing right now, is surplus lines. And I'm not sure if you know about surplus lines companies. Do you have any idea what is surplus lines?
No, no. Go ahead and explain
Um,
that for anyone that's
okay,
listening.
excellent. So surplus lines is basically a company that we is like a secondary company from the admitted company. So the main carriers, they call them admitted carriers. We could write directly with them, and if we cannot get any policies with those main carriers, we have to do our due diligence. We have to get 3 rejections that we can't find those policies. Then we take them over now to the secondary company, which is called surplus lines, and they're usually like the Lloyds, the Lexingtons, the Scottsdale. They're the secondary companies. Only if we cannot ride with those main carriers, we could take them to surplus lines. With those secondary companies, they're now closing down shop. They're doing 2 things. They're non-renewing everything because they're losing a lot of money, and they don't want, it seems to me, what I'm seeing, seem like they do not want to write any more business down here, down this side in the Tri-County.
Mm-hmm.
So they're making your hurricane deductibles very high, it's at 10%. They're either, if they're giving a renewal, it's double what you pay. It's
Mm-hmm.
very high. That they're giving you non-renewals. They don't want to renew you. So you find out a lot of clients, they are with those type of companies because those companies was the better rate like a year ago or 2 years ago. Now they're non-renewing everything. Now they're closing shop for everything.
So they were cheaper. Their rates were cheaper.
Yes.
Their deductibles were higher, but their monthlies were cheaper.
Yes, they were cheaper. Even deductibles were still lower, but they were beating out the admitted carriers because their rate was so cheap because they were secondary companies.
Okay.
But all of a sudden now, I mean, because they're cheap, and if they have a lot of claims, they're not able to pay their claims because, I mean, obviously, if they're getting $1,000 on a policy and then they end up with a $50,000 claim, then they're basically losing $49,000 right there on just a $1,000 policy. And usually your premium used to be between $1,000 and $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be the premium for those surplus lines companies. Now they're doubling or tripling. Now they're saying that the client could go. Their renewal is going to be somewhere around $6,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best that they have, and they don't care if the client goes somewhere else because for them they're losing down here. So fortunately it is tough times. I hope things will get better because there is a lot of changes that I've seen in the past, and sometimes the change could be for the good or it can be for the bad, but the change will come.
The change, it's going to have to, right?
Yes.
It's going to have to come at some point.
Right.
It's just no way around it. It's going to have to. I see someone else just joined, Janelle Walks. I'm not sure if she has any question or if anyone else have any questions so far. We're at 6:37 now.
Well, I guess just to get up to date with what you guys mentioned earlier, because I'm sorry I'm joining late.
That's okay. Did you have any particular question that you want Adrian to cover? Are you a current homeowner or are you looking to purchase?
I'm a current homeowner.
Are you, I'm gonna pick on you. Are you having issues with your insurance right now? Are you looking to switch? Like, what's going on?
No, I just want to know if there are any changes in the industry and how it will or may impact on my situation.
Okay. So you want to go back and give just a general, since she doesn't have a current issue right now that we can tackle.
Yes. Hi, Janelle. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Mr. Adrian?
Yes, I'm doing pretty good. So, yes, there is changes in the industry. And the reason why there's changes because we have a lot of activity with the hurricanes. This has been going on for a while. Even though we haven't had a big hurricane since Hurricane Irma, there has been a lot of activities lately in the Atlantic that is causing the insurance companies to pause. And it's like, whoa, this is serious. Another problem that we're facing is that we had Hurricane Irma about 3 years ago. We still have clients. Now it's closed off now. But if the audience don't know this, if there's a hurricane damage, you have 3 years to make your hurricane claim. So you find that a lot of people still making claims for Hurricane Irma. I have a lot of claims that came in still to this day, but now they stopped now. But that was before September the 5th or so. There was a lot of claims during that period. Another problem as well, Janelle, is that we are having a lot of water damage claims down in the Tri-County area. It is too much than the rest of the state. So you find the insurance companies are really worried because it seems like they can't catch a break. They always have to be paying. And if the big storm come, they might not have enough money to pay out if that's the case.
Understood.
Right. So it is a little bit tough right now. It's tough all across the board. I'm hoping and praying that there's no hurricane though. I mean, if there's no hurricane this year that would hit South Florida, then I think things might be looking good for us. I think there will be some changes, but it will be looking a little bit better than now.
Okay. So then, what are their plans? Like, what do they have on the tables?
Well, what they're trying to do is, and they're trying to do this thing called if they were to bring, if they were to come back in and start to ride down in the Tri-County, I'm thinking that they're going to go ahead and do water damage limitation. That's what I've been hearing from, you know, other representatives and so forth that's in the industry. It seems
Right.
like once they're coming back into the loop, they will have a cap on water damage claims. So if
Okay.
you now have a big water damage issue and you could have called a public adjuster and get good amount of money from that, now they want to cap it at 10,000, and they're trying to put that as the norm. You know, like that's what they're forcing a lot of people to do now, especially the newer companies, the companies that are now writing down in the Tri-County.
Oh,
So that's coming. I'm thinking that's coming because everyone is so quiet now.
mhm.
But what I'm observing out there by me having conversations with different representatives in the industry, they're stating that that is what they're planning on doing. They're trying to regulate some of those kind of stuff.
Okay.
That might help.
Yeah, good to
Might help.
know.
In
Yeah.
general, have you had any claim issue before, or have you made a
Luck
claim
for
before?
me, I don't. I mean, do I have foreseeable claims? Yes. I'm not sure if the insurance would cover it though, because it's on the outside.
And I believe that you might have a HO6 policy, which only covers for interior,
Right, right,
and the exterior is the responsibility for the association as well.
right.
So, okay, which is understandable. Well, the good news is at least you have insurance, because to not have insurance now, it is very risky right now.
It is. It is. Thank God I haven't had to make a claim.
Right, that's a good thing as well. And another thing, John, I want to let you know that I'm I'm in this business, so I could tell you because I've seen a lot of times people sometimes make claims for the smallest things. Like for example, is maybe if they see something that just like something bursts or there's a little small leak in their maybe cabinets or something that is nothing major, they
Right,
like to make claims, make claims, make claims. So what will happen now is that the companies now is like, okay, for you, they don't want to take you. They don't look at you as a person that they could profit from. They're gonna look at you like someone that's gonna more than likely make a claim to them. And
so
it's gonna be much harder for you to get policies if you continuously make claims.
right, yeah, understand, yeah. That's
Mhm.
like messing up your,
Your
similar to your
credit.
credit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can't insurance hop people. You can't mess up your credit or your credibility with one insurance company by, filing a lot of claims and then think, oh, I can just go to another insurance company. No, the systems are tied.
Right.
They can see
Absolutely,
what you've done in the past.
definitely.
So please be
Okay,
careful. Yeah.
very useful information. Thanks,
Thank,
guys.
Not a
thank
problem.
you.
Yes.
Anything else, Adrian? So I think we've covered, right, the changes that's been happening, the reason why people are constantly looking for a new, homeowners insurance broker, because I couldn't understand what was happening. So when I called you up and touched base with you and said, yeah, we need to get this information out there. We need to have a discussion as to what's going on. So hopefully, people will, people have been listening and will see this. This is going to be live. This recording will stay on Facebook for quite some time. It'll also be on YouTube. So we're still in hurricane season. So let's go back to that. Let's piggyback on our last conversation.
Sure.
Let's talk about, getting ready for hurricane season. We have to continue to make sure that homeowners are ready. The things that they need to do to get ready. We have 15 minutes. Let's jump into that. What are the tips?
Sure.
Top tips
So
that
the
they need to
tips,
do to get ready.
the main tip, install hurricane shutters. Get hurricane shutters wherever you have to get it from. If you have to go to the whatever place, I think Humanitation Center or somewhere, protect your property. Don't just look and say, well, I don't have hurricane shutters and I think the insurance company will pay for it because I'm not going to put up anything because I'm thinking I could get something from it. It's not worth it. Get your shutters, prepare yourself. If you have to, stack up on items, foods, or whatever the case may be, because we're in the hurricane season, do that as well. Is not too much than the hurricane shutters, I would say. Now, if you don't have flood, I would say think about getting flood insurance because it can happen. There could be a lot of rains from the hurricane, and if all of those rain come inside your property and you got flooded out, that's not considered hurricane. That's going to be considered flood insurance.
And you don't have to be in a flood zone, correct?
You don't have to be in a
get
flood zone. It could
insurance.
happen to anyone. Could happen to anyone. So if you don't have flood insurance, you're taking a very big risk during this period. If I would make sure that I check that out. Another thing too as well, quick thing, just go ahead and call up your agent and say, hey, look, what's my deductible for my hurricane? Do I have a low hurricane deductible or do I have a high hurricane deductible? How can I change that? What's the cost if I do change that? Because what will happen is you don't want to wait until the last minute when there's a hurricane on its way, and then you're going to say, hey, why my hurricane deductible is 10%? Why am I paying all of this? Be prepared. Look over your policy, look over your deductibles, get ready because we're in the peak. And you have to be smart and ready for hurricane.
Okay, we have a question. I live in a condo. What should my amounts be for insurance policy?
So you're living in a condo and you want to know what it will be. Okay, so it's very difficult for us as agents to actually know, the type of coverage amount because we're not now doing a replacement cost calculator. Because the replacement cost is for the whole property itself. It's for the exterior, interior. Now, when we're doing just inside, some companies will allow you to put any amount of coverage you want. So if you want to have 30,000 for inside, they will allow you to do that. If you want to have 50,000, 40,000, some companies though will have a limit of what they will take, and some companies will force you to get that amount of coverage. But you could decide what amount of coverage you want with an HO6 or with a condo policy.
Okay. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
That's an excellent question, by the way. It is. I don't get that question a lot, but it do comes up from time to time. Like, can I get whatever coverage I want for my HO6? And the question is, yeah, some company allow you to do that.
So I would suggest, okay, great. But I also would suggest that if you're unsure, I'm not sure who your agent is currently, Adrian will drop his contact information in the chat before he leaves. Give him a shout, give him your address, tell him what you have, or he can pull up what you have and go over it and let you know if what you have is adequate. If you have too much, if you need more, whatever the case may be, you cannot be too sure. Thanks for that, Adrian.
Sure, no problem. And I just replied to the message as well. And that's a very good question, Farmer. Very good question.
Okay. So I know this is typically for homeowners or home buyers. What do you say for renters? So people who are renting, say, private rentals. Say someone's in a house, in someone's home.
Yeah.
So let's talk about renters who are renting, say, someone's private home, like a single family home or something like that.
Well, Karen,
what do you suggest for those people? Let's not leave the renters out.
Right. And that's a very good question because everyone needs insurance, not just the homeowner, the tenant, and so forth. So with a tenant policy, or for the tenant itself, it's called HO4. And HO4 policies are only going to be just for the furnitures, or you call them personal property, which is furnitures or television set or appliances, So they could decide what coverage they have. Now, certain companies have a limitation. Certain companies might say they're not going to allow you to go below 10,000 for the personal property. So they're going to force you to get 10,000 and more. But those type of premiums are usually very low. The cost for those premiums tend to be, and it can range from $100 to $300 annually.
Mm-hmm.
Another main important thing for that policy as well is liability. A lot of landlords, they force their tenants to get liability coverage to protect the landlord and to protect the tenant. Say the tenant brings someone's over the property, they slip and fall and they want to sue someone, they're probably going to turn around and maybe sue the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
So the landlord, sometimes I see a lot of them, they make sure to have their tenants have the HO4 policies because they want to have that protection and they want to leave that liability coverage over to the tenant. Let it be the tenant responsibility, so they're exempt.
Okay. Okay. Good advice.
Yep.
It's not just the homeowners that needs the liability. It's also
Yes.
the renters that need
Yes,
it.
and sometimes the renters like, you know what? I don't have anything. I don't care. I don't want to have a policy. It's good to have it. It's good. It doesn't cost a lot. You never know. Maybe a fire happen and all your personal items get destroyed.
Exactly. Just like if it was in your own house, it gets destroyed. It's still your personal items. That's gone.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So we're at 6:52. Again, thank you all for joining. Thank you for everyone that was watching on Facebook. Thank you everyone that joined the Zoom. Whether you are a homeowner, a current homeowner, or someone that's thinking about buying, and of course we made sure we included renters as well into this discussion. The importance of having homeowners insurance policy, renters insurance policy, the changes that's been happening and taking place in the homeowners insurance industry here in South Florida. If you've been someone that's been struggling with your homeowners insurance policy and your agent, please reach out to me. Please reach out to Adrian Neal. He is on Facebook. We will put his information in the chat. It will be attached to the video on Facebook. Please reach out to him. He can help you. We will have this discussion again sometime next month. The date will be posted on Facebook and Instagram. Please make sure to join us. I know the conversation will be, it's repetitive, but you probably didn't hear it last month and you didn't hear it today. You may hear it next month and it'll be when you need to hear it. So we will continue to have these discussions as we go along. Again, my name is Karen Mitchell. I'm a real estate agent with Location Real Estate here in South Florida. I don't just talk about real estate, or don't just talk about selling your home or helping you buy a home. I talk about everything that affects you and the home buying process, and this is one of them. This is very, very important. You have to have an inspection, and you have to have insurance, and you must understand the importance of it. Again, thank you so much. Adrian, any last words?
Well, thank you, Karen, for the presentation. I'm happy to be a part of this, and I'm really thank you for what you're doing to the community. You're educating everyone about the process when it comes to real estate, mortgage. It's not you, but you're having the experts on to educate the public, and you're doing a good service.
I don't know. I go get the people.
No, you're doing a very good service for everyone, and this is really good. This is something that I'm very happy to be a part of. If anyone's out there, if they need for me to look over their insurance policy, I'm always available to do that. If you're purchasing a property, you could always see Karen, and we will be a part of that as well. We will have that communication. We will talk and discuss insurance. My phone number, it is 954-719-0279. My extension is 102. You could get me directly. You just call and ask for Adrian. I'm always here, always happy to help.
And he's local in Tamarack, Florida, off Nob Hill Road, right here in Broward County. You can go to, you're in the office, right? You're back physically. Yes. You can go to his office, knock on his door, sit in his waiting room, and wait for him.
And wear a mask. Look, I think I have my masks all over the place. I have like
Yeah.
about 5 masks.
Just wear a mask. You have an insurance problem, you need to talk to somebody, just go to his office, wear your mask, and wait for him. He will help you. He will help you guys. Again, thank you all. Oh, Adrian, you forgot to wish me a happy birthday yesterday, so now you
Oh
can't.
my.
I'm gonna give you
Well,
the opportunity
Karen,
to do that now.
I want to wish you a big 45 happy birthday. Oh, I sorry if I say your age. No one's supposed to know that, right?
That's okay. No, it's fine. I'm 45. I turned 45 yesterday.
45.
Yes.
It's amazing. I would love to look like you when I'm 45. I'm telling you.
Oh, but you do.
Happy
I'm gonna
birthday,
get him
Karen.
on because he didn't call me either.
Oh, I'm
Get him.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. I wanted to Kim on note too as well.
See, I just blasted him all over Facebook, and this is gonna be there forever.
Oh yes, you can't find, you can't miss it.
All right. Thank you so much. Everyone
Okay,
have
take
a
care,
wonderful
guys.
evening. Stay safe and continue to be safe and be blessed all. Okay?
Take care.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. All right, you can put it back up.
Okay.